Hello, everybody. This is Vishak here. Hello, everyone. This is Vishak here, and welcome to the first episode. Welcome to the episode of Lean Addict. Hello, everyone. This is Vishak here, and welcome to another episode of Lean Addict. So, in this episode, I want to talk about health as a whole, major components of health, and how we can go about it. So, basically, when we talk about health, we tend to take a very wrong approach, very bad approach towards health because we think that we have the body and then we can do whatever with it. Unfortunately, that's not the case, ladies and gentlemen, because it's going to backfire one day. Okay, and all we can do is just sit and take the medications, right? Unfortunately, it'll be very hard to uh, take a U-turn at that point. Okay, so that's something that I want to talk about. So let me just give a very brief elevator introduction about me. I am Vishak, and I'm the founder of Lean Addict. I am a banker turned a fit life entrepreneur, and I'm on a mission to help 100,000 people live a transformed lifestyle. So the thing that I want to talk about over here is the basic elements of health as to what health is, um, and how we can give a better how we can take a better approach towards health, to look for longevity and things like that. So to start off with, health as a definition, right? So the state of being free from illness or injury. So if somebody is in state a healthy state, that means he or she is free from everything, away from everything, all kind of possible illness, even a headache, even you know uh, short-sightedness, of long-sightedness. I don't know, I'm just putting things across, right? It could be anything, so just free from it. So all up in perfect condition, all of your organs are working at a very optimum level, and you are able to perform certain types of physical activity um, without struggling too much, without going shortness of breath or anything like that. Okay, so that's pretty much, if I have to refer someone as a being in a healthy state. It is not about muscles, it's not about the food, it is not about um, abs. It's not about lean, it's the very basic thing that we need to see, what we need to get things straight is nothing but how are we going to keep our body fat percentage on a lower side. That is one question that everybody needs to ask on a regular basis. And if that is a question that is being answered, and then I think pretty much the lifestyle in itself will be fixed. So if you have certain types of practices which is not necessarily going to keep your fat percentage on the lower side, then I think that is something that we need to revisit and look at changing. Because because what happens is when you have certain practices, which is, in this case, even if you just tend to skip out to workout, or if you have a regular habit of having a tea or a coffee, which most of us have, and then it eventually uh, comes to a point where we won't be able to live without it. I mean, it's not bad at the initial stages, but then if you're having this kind of practice for like years together, then I think that is something that we need to uh, look at the starting stage. Maybe after a few years, just try to, if you actually try to take that off from your life for a couple of days, and then you will see how it is hitting you. So that is something that we need to see, because on a constant basis, brain is constantly craving for something that spikes the dopamine in it. So in the natural dopamine will be food and sex, but then um, a lot of artificial external factors are coming in it, and then have a huge influence on your brain and its performance. the neurological performance. So that is something that we need to stay away from. That is something that we need to um, take a hard decision on, to stay no, to say no, and to stay away from it as a whole. With that thought, let's dive in and and see what we have. So the studies have shown that, most of us don't get the exercise, and I don't really like buying that number with 60%, because that is definitely not 60%, because uh, considering the population that we have, I don't think so. Everybody is getting enough physical activity. Okay, by physical activity, what I mean is, if someone has to take in about 1,500 calories a day, uh, that means on any given day, that particular person has to spend or to have the energy expenditure of 1,300 to 1,700 on an average. Okay, if it is not less than that, then I think it's something bad about it. Okay, it definitely has to be more. The energy expenditure should be always more than the food that we consume in. Okay, because that's the how that's way that's the how that is the best way that I can, excuse me for that, that's the best way that I can explain it, explain the metabolism, because um, we tend to consume a lot of empty calories. By that I mean the oil that you're not supposed to do, or the condiments, or the seasoning that you're not supposed to take, or whatever. I mean, it doesn't necessarily give you the benefit, like the health benefit. So in that regard, it's more of like, um, it's more like it's just going to turn into fat. So if we don't have enough exercise to burn that off, like whatever we consume, then I think it's more of like we are it's suicidal, because of the food that we consume on a daily basis. It's kind of like giving you enough chances to contaminate the fat, and conserve the fat. Sorry. So, and on top of that, we just not even getting enough exercise. That means we're not giving enough work to your heart. um, and if you are not burning it off, then I think it's on a very bad side. So 25% of the adults don't get exercise at all. That means 60 plus 25, it's close to um, 85%. Now that's a very very big number. Okay, that's not a good number to be in at all. And that is something that we need to take a really deep look, because people, I think, if you ask me, I have made an analysis of as to how this should go, and it should basically just go into the spot of educational institutions. Because I mean, I don't want to be bad mouthing school and all that, but maybe truth hurts, right? Educational institutions need to start teaching students about health, wealth, and relationship. Okay, that is the most predominant factors that anybody could live a life with. But unfortunately, they are designed to, you know, teaching everybody to be an employee. So unfortunately, the health is being overlooked, and that's something that we need to look at, right? So yeah, recommended guidelines is that getting enough exercise is like minimum of 150. I would just go up to 180, because 180 is like 30 minutes a day. uh that's 6 days, should be good. Okay, one day definitely there's an off day, but but 180 is the minimum, bare minimum. And and if you double that, it's more like you're constantly keeping your heart at work, you're constantly keeping your blood at work. The blood flows more and all that. So what happens is, like, there's a major benefit by keeping this constantly and consistently for about years together. So what happens is, like, you're just getting stronger as you old, as you age. So there was a funny saying, right? I mean, it's not a funny saying, but there are some people who get who age after 40 like milk, and there are some people who age after 40 like wine, like fine wine, right? Which one is better? And the latter is better, right? So that is something that we are missing out because, excuse me, because we are just being comfortable, and that is one spot which is very dangerous. It's a very bad place to be in, right? Just because nothing grows there, and you know, if anybody is, even if somebody who was consistently being uh, being physically active, being eating clean and everything like that, and if that person takes off, like me for example, I have trained my brain in such a way that I keep myself active like every day, right? So if anything hits me like a cold or a fever or anything like that, and then if I take off for about a couple of days, what happens is that the third day or fourth day, it just kind of comes back and just, you know, like sometimes I don't even feel like going. Like it just makes me stay on the bed, even though I'm fine. And that is something that we need to break through, and everybody needs to break through, because that is the starting point of developing another habit. Day number three, right? That's why I always tell that never go without exercise more than 2 days. 2 days is the maximum number of days that anybody can go without exercise, and not more than that. Because the third day, it's kind of like a very danger zone. It's like its second day is already on amber, if I can put it that way. So day number three is red, and you don't want to be in the red zone, because you know day number four is kind of like most likely you will stay back and then not do anything what you're supposed to do. That's the beginning of the habit to be formed, and then it's pretty hard to come back. And that's what it is. Okay. Anyway, moving on to the next. What is the exercise duration? Like how much exercise should I be getting? So like we discussed, the minimum is about 180 to 200 minutes a week. Okay. But at the same time, I feel I've heard so many people talking about, I've been there, like I go to the gym for about 3 hours a week, 4 hours a week, and I'll be like, yeah, why don't you get a life, right? uh, that's not required, because a very optimum level for anybody to get an exercise is like 30 minutes or 15 minutes. Is as per the studies like 15 minutes, but then I would say it's mostly uh, 30 minutes per day. So 15 minutes, if you're getting like a really vigorous exercise for about 15 minutes, it reduces the chances of, cardiovascular diseases and cancer, certain types of cancer, not all cancers, but certain types of cancers, and definitely diabetes. Well, the reason as to why I put diabetes number one is like definitely stands number one, because the first thing what happens when you start working out and all that, it just makes the sugar level drops. Um, so when it drops, it just kind of uh, puts you on a different zone, and from there you will be able to take it forward, like keeping it consistent and keeping it harder and all that. But I would just recommend for 30 minutes, the minimum of 30 minutes, and six days a week. That should be able to help you track your progress, and things like that. Yeah. So exercise is like, how does it help? I would say, like, um it's just, there are a lot of benefits, but I just want to keep it very simple, very minimum, right? So first, what happens is when you exercise, you breathe a lot. Okay. When you breathe a lot, you absorb more oxygen. Okay, you're with me, right? So when you absorb more oxygen, uh, the more the blood flow is happening. Okay, so the more the blood flow is transported into the heart, that means that your heart is beating a lot more faster. That means a lot more blood is being cleaned, a lot more blood is being pumped out. Okay, so that is number one. And also on the other side, it also develops a capacity to hold more blood in within one within every beat, within a beat, right? Yeah. So that is on the heart and the lung side. So better efficiency would be the diaphragm, which is like the basic of after the oesophagus, and then your other muscles as well. Everything is kind of getting benefited by the true um, excuse me, I don't know what I meant to say. So there's a better efficiency of all of the muscles because you're using certain muscles to do all the physical activities. And diaphragm is another organ which helps you keep your performance optimum level. All right. So that's what it is on the first side. And another side is the lipoproteins, which we are dealing with is the fat, right? So there is obviously a very increased ratio of HDL, which is the good cholesterol. It's um, high density and low density. So low density lipoprotein is more of like how do I put it? It's a vegetable oil, right? Or you get something, you get that from other meat, which is like high, like you don't need that kind of. It's a very bad cholesterol, all right? You don't need that kind of fat. Okay, you need to start looking at in things. So definitely a lot of increased ratio in the high density lipoprotein, which is a good cholesterol. So these are the basic benefits. So what happens is when you start ingesting good cholesterol, good amount of fats inside your body, the the good cholesterol starts coming up, and then obviously the body composition, which clearly determines, and then your bad cholesterol will just eventually will go away. It won't just go away by sitting on a couch. That is given, but then when you kind of work out and keep your food and keep your diet in check, everything balanced, then I think that's a good place to start, uh, and eventually can make a progress down the line. Okay. Moving on, what are the four common reasons as to why people don't get exercise? Actually, it's not four; it's five. But it could be more, but I just wanted to put it like a major classifications of it. And it's like people usually, if you ask anybody who is fat, anybody who is not like not physically active, if you ask them as to why they don't want to do it, and they would just say, it's they don't want to. I don't want to do it. Okay. This reminds me of a story. Um, if you know about John D. Rockefeller, John D. Rockefeller is an American business magnate, and he was in the time period of this beginning of 19th century, along with Dale Carnegie uh, and I'm sorry, did I just say Dale Carnegie? It's not Dale Carnegie. It's Andrew Carnegie. Yeah, he's a steel empire business magnate. So yeah, along with John D. Rockefeller, J.P. Morgan, these guys were like top of the dome. And so yeah, John D. Rockefeller's advisor, I'm not sure if it's like financial advisor or someone who was actually sitting next, and he was just saying that when John D. Rockefeller was having a meal, he was he was told that if you wanted to increase your longevity, if you wanted to enjoy the wealth that you have accumulated over these years, uh, make sure that you push your plate before you feel that you're full, right? Now that's a very powerful statement, because ask yourself, will you get problems, health complications, or diseases or illness if the food is more, or if the food is less? Obviously it's more, right? When the food is more, the complications rises over the years. Body will definitely try to adapt, body will definitely try to adjust with the lifestyle, but there's a threshold for the body for adapting and improvising on it. There's definitely a threshold, and if you don't keep your body fit and strong, it won't be good. Okay. So excuse me. So that is something that we need to just look at, you know, uh, on a consistent basis, because this is more of like I said, I mean, this is how I opened the line, taking it for granted. I think that is something that we need to see, because I find it very funny when people say that I don't want to exercise, I don't want to, you know, go to the gym, I don't want to run. Another set of people is like lack of motivation. They always look for motivation. They don't always look for external motivation. So motivation is a very interesting topic, right? If somebody wants to start working on something, if somebody puts on a goal, you know, I don't know, anything, financial goal, health goal, any career goal or anything of that sort, when they start, most people, they start with so much of optimism and so much of high energy and positivity and all that. And they say, okay, tomorrow I have to go to the gym, I got to do this and I got to do that, and then go to bed. When they go to bed, they'll be so pumped. When they wake up in the morning, everything just gone, everything just flushed out. That's because people rely on the external motivation. That's because they don't necessarily develop a habit. And that habit is very important, because if you're trying to cue in certain things into your brain, that means it's pretty hard for your brain to actually get adapted towards that situation. Okay, because uh, your body is a reflection of your lifestyle. Okay, if somebody is fat, that means that person is so comfortable sitting on a couch. If somebody is lean, if somebody is built, if somebody is healthy, if somebody is fit, that means that particular person is comfortable being in the gym. You see, there's always a difference, right? So I would say motivation is more of like an internal game, and it just doesn't come from watching some YouTube videos uh, or anything like that. This is more of like an internal game. It's more like a habit. You need to form that habit, and and to form a habit, it actually takes about 21 to 30 days, the minimum of it. And then again, I'm just going back to something that I have discussed. You know, even if you're forming the habit and if being consistent about it, you know, it doesn't necessarily guarantee you to be there, because if you slack up for a couple of days and the third day you kind of like, you know, you tend to just go down, because I, you know, you feel like you're just being in the comfort zone and all that. So again, it is more of like a tuning in your brain, that you just gotta do it regardless of what. If that is a kind of drive that you have from the inside, then there's nothing could stop you. Okay, but at the same time, if people are like, I just want to do it because I watched the video, they are pumped, and I was like, okay, I want to be like that and I want to be like this. So I would let me put it this way. So this is more for people who are like really trying to form the habit, but they're not able to do it. So what happens is, so this is what I even in my coaching system, this is what I do. So when people lack in motivation, what I do is like I ask them to write down as to why they want to lose weight, or why they want to lose fat, or why they want to get fit, why they want to get in shape, and things like that. So when they put down things like this, what happens is, uh, it's more of like a subconscious game. The statement, I want them to form in a perfect statement. So I always carry a goal card with me, right? So I always have this statement with me, reading right in front of me. I always see it. So every time when I see it, like every day, every morning when I wake up, every night when I go to sleep, or every time when I work, it's always in front of me. So chances are highly likely for my actions to be determined by this particular statement. So I read that statement every morning after my morning ritual. So it be anything. It let it be crazy things. I mean, I want to be impressing some women, or I want to lose my weight for my children. You know, I don't care. Like anything, as long as you have a very strong why, then there's nothing stopping you. But then if you're relying on external motivation, then I think that's probably the problem starts, because you know, it just flushes out on the next morning, or after a few hours. So one of my author, one of the favorite, one of my favorite author, her name is Mel Robbins. So she professes about this 5-second rule, right? So if anybody wants to do anything and that task seems to be a little impossible or out of hands or anything, what they need to do is, all they have to do is just get ready and then count from 5 to 1 and then start the show. So what happens when you are actually doing this is, because let's say that I want to go to the gym, okay, and I'm just not having that time, or I'm just not having that uh, energy, or I'm just thinking too much about it and I'm not doing it. So at that point, all I have to do is just, rather than sitting and thinking about it, what I got to do is, in my mind, I should be counting from 5 to 1. Okay, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, and then I get to work. So what happens? You're not allowing your brain to work. That means you're not allowing your brain to think about giving reasons as to why you shouldn't be working out. Okay, you're not giving the time. So when you don't give the time and you just count from count straight from 5 to 1, and then you get to work, you change your dress, you change your clothes, and you just go, and that's it. That's how it works. Right, once you get there, then probably maybe you can just pump up some music or anything like that, and then I'll be covering a lot of music, how, what kind of a zone that you have to be in another episode. Okay, how to zone out in the gym and all that. So this is something that you need to be cultivating in your mind, and it's just not of like an external motivation. Another one comes lack of time. So lack of time is, I think, probably that's one thing that is topping the list, if you ask me, because lack of time, like everybody has 24 hours and it's all about priorities, what we have, and nobody is never too busy for anything, but it's just about the priorities, right? So if I have to say I don't have time, the first question is like, you don't have time to do what? Right? Now they say, if I don't have time to cook, if I don't have time to um, go for the run, or if I don't have time to take about 100 push-ups, then my question is, my friend, you're good. Okay, you don't have time. Okay, but are we doing things enough to do it at least in the near future? Let's say another couple of hours from now. Or if you want to skip it, okay, you can skip it, but how is tomorrow looking? How is day after tomorrow looking? Because we all have a schedule, and if we don't find about 30 minutes to 45 minutes to even just take care of ourselves, take care of your body, then I don't think so. What is more important than that? Okay, let me put it this way. If I have to ask you a question, what is your number one priority right now, or at any given point? People will come up with a lot of things. Okay, my work, my business, my this, my that, my thing, my husband, my wife, my children. Yes, everything is important. I agree with it. But if there's one thing that tops among all of it, is your health. Okay, prove me wrong in that. So I'm not saying that you should not pay attention to the rest of the things. Of course, there are things that takes priority, and when as the time keeps changing. But if the health is being overlooked, if that has been ignored, then everything else goes secondary in the near future. Okay, so lack of time is a very poor excuse, that people come up with, and I'm not buying into that. Yeah. So and the next one is the lack of energy. Well, another one, this is something that again I don't necessarily give in, because it's just a matter of a good meal. So once you just sit for about 10 minutes and then you have a good meal, regardless how tired you are, except that if you have not slept for about 3 4 days continuously, and then if you're lacking in energy, then I'm buying it. But if you're saying that I'm not, I haven't slept, or I haven't sat in like, I haven't sat for a day. I have been running around, and then because of that I'm tired. I have been working for like 9 hours. I've been working for like 10 hours, and then now I don't have energy. Now that I'm finding it very hard to believe, because the place that I was working, I was a banker, and the place that I was working. So I used to log in at certain times, right? So just to give you an example, if I log in at 7 or 8 o'clock in the morning, you know, I step out at around 4 or 5 in the evening, right? So we have a lunch with the breakfast with the, the regular typical corporate job. So everybody, when I say goodbye at the end, when I close my day, when I say bye to people, everybody is like, so they are like zombies, and I'm like, yo, what's up, what's going on, right? And these people are like, oh, I don't know, I'm so tired. Like, what are you tired about? Right, that's my question. What are you tired about? Oh no, I don't have energy, I've been working so hard. You're not been working so hard, your fingers are working hard, and a little bit of your brain, but not the body. So there's nothing to be tired about. Okay, it is the food that is causing you this feeling of heaviness, and you're literally not able to move, and you're feeling sleepy, and you know so it's just a matter of little minor tweaks that you need to do in a regular basis, and then you will be on a better way, on a better side. Okay, there's never lack of energy. Also, that if you don't have proper food on timely basis of very balanced nutrition, so on the meal number one, meal number two, meal number three, if you don't have certain balanced amount, then obviously before the meal number four, even after the meal number four, your energy kind of tend to go down, because mentally it's exhausting to go through certain times, and also your food is kind of acting as a complement towards it. So um, concoction of these both factors will lead you to low energy. Okay, all you need to do is just get up and get running. That's it, just a minor tweak. It's a switch that you need to turn off in your brain, and then you're there. Okay, as long as you're getting things started, that's what it is. Okay. uh, Last one, but it's not the least, it's never the least: lack of information. This is something that I agree to. This is the only excuse that um, I can buy, because there is so much information out there, and people don't really know as to which one to take and which one to let go of. So in times like that, it's pretty hard, because let me put it this way: if that is, let's say that there's a bee, right? Let me put it this way, in a form of a story. If there's a bee, okay, and it's trying to get out of the window, all right, and the window is covered with the glass. It's got a glass. Now the bee is continuously, bee or housefly, whatever, it's continuously trying to just step out of the glass. It's trying to get out of the glass. It's trying to get out of the window, but it just can't. Okay, it's working hard, it's doing everything in its possible capacity to get out of the window, but it just can't, right? All it has to do is turn around. When it turns around, it's got a whole way to step out. It can get out. Okay, this is something in a way that if somebody wants to walk up to the north, but if they are thinking that this is the way, and if they walk up to south, regardless of how hard they work, they are not likely to go to north, right? So hard work, it's good to say, but if you're working, what you're working is wrong, then no amount of hard work will get the result that you want. So I feel that it's more like doing the right thing, and doing it hard. I mean, working smart, a combination of working smart and working hard. So that kind of propels your action, and then it just, it's for the faster result. That's what I would say. So overwhelmed, you will definitely get overwhelmed if you just go to the internet and start downloading things, and start, like, you watch videos for knowledge, or you read articles for knowledge. There's so many people doing so many things out there, and it's pretty hard to get the right knowledge, what is right for you, what is right for your body. It's pretty hard, and it's not just about getting the knowledge, it's also about incorporating that knowledge, because once you start incorporating, the worst part is that you don't even get the result immediately, because it's a human body, right? You need to be working on it, and then you need to be working on it like consistently for about weeks together, And then maybe after a month or something, you will start seeing very slight changes, you know. And then you will see, okay, is it correct, is it wrong, you know what I mean? So consistency is definitely the key. But then if you are getting information from multiple people, then I think it's a very wrong approach to have it, because different people have different methodologies, and they will obviously not know what is right for you and what is wrong. So I think you should be careful about whom you listen to, because you cannot get financial advices from broke people, right? Or you cannot get health advices from a fat person. So it's pretty much, just be careful about whom you listen to, and then stick on to one single mentor and unsubscribe from all the other mentors, so that you can just stay focused and then get your results in the stipulated time, right? So yeah, that's what it is. And understanding the muscles, the next one is muscles. So what about muscles? Your body sees your muscle as a liability, because your body needs to spend a lot of energy to carry these muscles and walk around, and sees your fat as an asset, because your fat as an asset, in that I mean, a body will do everything within its capacity to, accumulate asset, that is fat, and burn off the liability. You don't need the muscles, but that's why I said that your body is a true reflection of your lifestyle. So if somebody is kind of like physically inactive, or trying to binge in a lot, that means the person is fat. That means the lifestyle that person is living is like very, very comfortable life, or it's not going through certain pain in certain area. Especially, you know what I'm talking about. Going for a run is pain. Going for running on a treadmill is pain. Okay, eating salad is pain. But if you see it as a pain, then it's a pain. But it's all about the switch that I told you in the brain, that you need to switch, right? I mean, it's just a minor switch that you need to make, the alteration in your brain, saying that I have to work out, rather than saying I have to work out, rather than saying that I have to eat this type of food. Just say I get to work out, I get to eat this food, I get to, it's more like a grateful attitude. If you kind of like it's if you just make this minor change in your brain, I think that it's going to be pay off. It's going to pay off like crazy, because you'll be operating from a different level if you have that kind of approach towards things, right? So yeah. And so speaking of muscles, right, why I told you that having muscles is like a liability, because muscle, the more muscle you have, the more fat you burn. Okay, so you need to always look for muscle. And I've heard people saying, oh, I don't want to look muscular, I don't want to look bulky. Like they talk like it's available on the corner store. I can just go buy it. If I give some money, I can get some muscles, and I don't want the muscles. Okay, excuse me, ladies and gentlemen, you don't you don't get the muscles just like that. You need to put in years and years of hard work, consistent hard work. Not just about hard work, but then you need to match the diet along with it, just to even be muscular. And being muscular is sexy for a man, for women. It's not just about being bulky and be sized up and all that. It's not about that. Even if person who's looking thin, who's looking lean, you know uh, it's kind of like it gives you a whole posture about the confidence, and then just the whole the appealing. It's very appealing. Okay, the confidence level is like through the roof. And then be it for men or for women. Okay, building muscle is not that easy. Okay, it comes from a lot of pain, and it comes from a lot of things. And then, well, like I said, more muscle that you have, more muscle that you burn. And that's why I find it so funny when people say that I don't want to look muscular, I don't want to be like that. And then we're like, you'll never be like that. Don't worry about it. So yeah, speaking of the muscle endurance, it's a maximum reps that you do with the same movement in a particular exercise. Okay, so if you're doing a particular exercise, a specific exercise, and if you're doing certain movements, it is endurance is purely determined by how many movements you're doing, how many repetitions, how many reps that you're doing in that particular exercise. That's what it means. Okay, but every movement in every exercise contains two stages. One is contraction. Okay, another one is extension. Okay, so extension is when your muscles are stretched, and contraction is when your muscles are squeezed. So in every body part, every muscle has got this contraction and extension, and that's how the muscles are being performed. So when it's contracted, there's a lot of blood which pumps into that muscle, and extended, it just gives a lot of room for the muscle damage, so that when it recovers, the more muscle is being built, and that's how it works. So the muscle endurance is more of like how many repetitions that you would be able to do with a specific movement. Okay, but on that similar note, if you just take a look at the strength, that's like on the same movement, on the same same movement with less repetition, you need to increase your weight. Okay, so the more the weight with the same movement, then it's less the repetition. So you get the point, right? So one repetition is from point A to point B, and then again back to point A. Okay, it could be like extension to contraction, back to extension, or contraction to extension, back to contraction. That's how it is. But your reps are purely determined by your strength. Strength is nothing but how many reps you will be able to do with that specific, in the specific form, in that specific movement, you know and that's how the muscles are being built. Right, this is just to give you a basic understanding about how muscles work, and how to work on muscles, and how to build them. Right. So how does muscles play, what is the role of muscle when it comes to losing weight? Now, before I answer that, the question that most people are asking is wrong. How do I lose weight? I want to go to the gym, I want to lose weight. Right, so that's a very wrong concept. Losing weight, why? Because if you don't ask the right question, you won't you won't get the right answer, which is pretty obvious, right? So uh, let me put it this way. If somebody is going to the gym, and if they pump some weights, and if they have a very balanced nutrition, okay, let's say that they are weighing about 80 kgs, okay, 150 pounds, somewhere around that. Let's say that if the person has to do the same thing for about 2 months consistently, okay, they pump up some weights, they do a lot of strength training. That's what I meant by pumping the weights. And then they get home, and then they have a very balanced nutrition for about 2 months. They would probably be weighing the same 150 pounds, but their fat percentage is very less compared to the time that they started. You know what that means? That means the way they weigh the same, but the fat percentage has gone down. That means the question should be how to lose my fat, and not how to lose weight. You get the idea, right? So losing weight is a very misconceptual uh, era that we are in at this point, because Google is being asked about how do I lose weight. That's a very wrong question, and then that's also being answered. I'm not saying that it's not, but then it's being answered. But to a certain level, it could be right, but then that's not the right way to probably track your health status, if I can put it that way. Okay, so again, I want to say people build momentum to a certain level, trying to incorporate certain training techniques and the nutrition techniques and all that, but completely looking at the weigh scale, and if that is the way how people are tracking it, then it's wrong, because eventually they will things will start backfiring, because even after a month or two, they won't just see the result, because they can definitely see the results in the mirror, but not in the scale. So that means your health has definitely got better because you are able to run faster, you are able to lift more weights, you're able to perform better. Also, your cognitive performance is better because of your lifestyle changes and all that. But still, like they tend to slack off because they don't see the weight coming down. The weight is still the same. So obviously there's nothing happened in my body, and then they'll be like, screw this, I don't want to do this. You know what I mean? But they were on the right track and they were able to get the result what they're supposed to get it, but the needle didn't move. If that is if that was what people are being stalled by. So ask the right question. So always asking for the right question is a good thing, because you'll be able to get a right answer. Okay. So lean body weight is more denser than that of a fat is like a very empty weight. I mean, I'm not saying the fat you need to cut it off, you need the fat, but then it's all about how you eat, when you eat, and what you eat, right? There are different types of fat. All fats are not the same. So I would just say almonds, coconut oil, etc. are the best fat that you can incorporate in your lifestyle. uh, Dark chocolates are good, walnuts are good. Don't never go for vegetable oil. You can have the fats from the meat, from the chicken, or from yolk, egg yolk, and all that. All these are like good, but then make sure that you are having in a very limited source, because a limited amount, because fat is like obviously got about 9 calories, I guess. But whereas the protein and carbohydrates is on a lower side, it's a four calories per gram. That's carbohydrates and protein, but fats definitely on the other higher side. That's why, I mean, but does that mean that you need to stay away from it? Obviously not, but make sure that you're keeping in check. So always target for the fat loss and never the weight loss. So it's a very tricky concept, because we are like kind of like going against the science of building the muscle and burning the fat at the same time. How are we doing it? It's very tricky, but then if you're getting it straight, it's very easy. Because right now, if you ask me, there's nothing that excites me more than how to burn fat. Burning fat is like super easy, right? I have very detailed. I have all detailed all these in my course as to how you need to torch it, and without even sacrificing on your favorite food. And that's how it is. Okay. Anyway, so the fat, when I said the optimum amount of fat for both the sexes is, or obviously it's a little different. So yes, men should have anywhere from 13 to 18. This is according to my um, projection, that men, if they are like 13 to 18%, that means they are on a better side. That means they are on a healthier side. They're able to perform better. They're able to climb 100 stairs without stopping. Without They are like pretty much healthy, right? Not never more than 25%. But women, on the other hand, they should aim for 22 up to 25% is good. Not But definitely not more than 30. Definitely, yeah, 25 is good. 25 is a level. All right. But definitely not more than 30%. Right? That's considered as obese women. All right. And the reason for this difference is predominantly for the protection aspect, because man is more stronger than women. So women need, like, in case of they need to defend or anything like that, they need to use like a lot more hard work physically, so that they need the fat to be strong, or to be, you know what I'm saying, and also to childbearing. So that's pretty much on the guidelines. But make sure that you target about these numbers. So these numbers, if you're sticking within these numbers, then you're like on a better side. But you know what I mean. Never more than 25 or 30 for man or woman respectively. That should be able to get you from. Yeah, that's what it is. So anybody who is looking forward for losing fat, I would say strength training is a very smart strategy. And the reason as to why I say that is because there are multiple reasons. Number one is obviously your metabolism. Let's say that if somebody is going for a dance or swimming or Zumba or anything of that sort, okay, sure, they are in a fat burning state. Sure, their metabolism will be high. Sure, there'll be a lot of blood being pumped, and sure, there's a lot of benefits. But also you need to look at the metabolism duration as to how long you're going to be having a fast metabolism after your workout session. So in this regard, if I have to say somebody is running for about 30 minutes, their metabolism will shoot up, and that will be good for about 6 hours, 7 hours, maybe even 8 hours, depending on the way they ran or whatever. But if they constantly do this for the strength training, the metabolism is going to be for days, and I'm giving you that in writing. Right? Because strength training has got so much of benefits. It also helps you build muscle. Remember, more muscle, more fat. More muscle you have, more fat they burn. So always aim for the strength training. That's a very smart way of looking at burning fat, and 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 other ones. Anyway, so strength training has got benefit of reduced risk of heart diseases, because so you're burning, you're making your heart beat a lot in other training aspects. But then because of strength, what happens is lot more blood is being pumped into the heart, because the contraction extension movements every time when you're doing the exercise, these are the basics. So if you begin the basic right, and the rest of the things are like pretty much on the higher side, right? But there are certain types of cancers that you will reduce it. And like I said, metabolic rate is definitely higher, like for days and days. It's about 2 days, maybe even 3 days, I guess, depending on how much you train, right? There's definitely increase in bone density, because there's a higher requirement for calcium as well. So your bone is getting denser, your bone is getting stronger along with your muscles. So definitely there's a thing. And blood pressure, yes, there's no question about it. And high testosterone for men, again, it depends on how much and what exactly you train. Because if men trains like larger muscle groups, then there'll be like a lot more testosterone. That means even sexual performance will be like on a better side, you know. And it should predominantly be focusing on legs, uh chest, back, all these big muscle groups. And then I'm not asking you to ignore the small muscle groups, but I feel that people are mostly focusing on the small muscle groups and ignoring on the big ones. So that is not a good way. That's not a smart way of, you know, uh, training for balance. And for women, obviously, it's for like toned body for women. I mean, there are like three body types, right? Endomorph, ectomorph, and mesomorph. So most of the people will fall into endomorph, and then that's like large frame. Not most people will fall into that, but people who are having the health issues, weight issues, or anything, they would kind of like fall into that. And this is pretty hard because they don't know, obviously, they don't know what to eat and what to train. So yeah. So strength exercise will help women keep a toned body and all that. And like we discussed, it's always just helps you to keep decreased LDL is nothing but low density lipoprotein. So that's kind of like the bad fat. It just helps you to be keeping that on the lower side, and at the same time high density lipoprotein is on the higher side. So that these are like pretty much the benefits that I can give you on the strength training. So always look for the strength training at least like one or two muscles in a day for about 3 sets, about 3 to 4 variations. Just throw in a couple of variations if you want it after your exercise. Even after your exercise, the more sets, the more variations, I mean, the better it is, because you get more toning on your muscles and all that. So aim for uh, 15, 18. If you're a beginner, 15 to 20 sets in total. For moderate, I would just say 20 to 25. All right. But for advanced, you can just look up to 30 to 40 sets. I sometimes go up to 40 sets. It kind of like gets you crazy, but then 40 sets is like insane workout, right? Yeah. That's pretty much it on the strength training part. And then what could possibly be a very idealistic program for anybody to have. Now this is a very subjectual, because it's the reason as to why I'm saying it's subjective, because it's different, because we all are different. And not just about we all are different, we all are different in different, excuse me for that. I don't know, we all are in different phases, and we all are different. Now you get the point, right? So I might be working out for about 8 years. There's another person who's working for 15 years, and there's another person who just started yesterday. So we are in different phases, and we all are different. Okay, if I can put it that way, right? So what is an ideal exercise program? So any exercise program for anybody, okay, would have three phases, right? The first phase is the warm up for your body to be stretched. Okay, keep get your blood flowing a bit. You know, that's on the next side. So obviously there's a warm up, and then with the warm up, what do you can incorporate whatever your favorite thing is. Like you can do like squats or pull ups or push ups or jogging or breathing exercise or stretching exercise. But stretching, just keep stretching apart. This is like stretching and any of this. So you get the point. So you're just trying to keep it as simple and as basic as we can, so that your body is like, it is increased in blood flow, it is increased in temperature, and it's ready to run. It's ready to be a machine for the next uh, few minutes or few hours, right? 90 minutes or something like that. So just always be gentle with your movements, because you're just trying to warm up. So you're not just warming up your body, but also you're warming up your joints. Your blood is raising in its temperature, so there's another warm up, and you're literally tweaking your brain to be in the zone for the next 90 minutes or 60 minutes or anything. So warm up is an absolute necessary before any workout. So that's the phase one. Phase two is the workout phase. That's nothing but the work phase, and that's where you're getting in the work done, right? You're putting in work. You're working on your muscles. You're working on your heart. You're working on the blood levels. I mean, blood pressure levels and all that. Okay. So in the work phase, what you need to look for is the continuous movements. This is like if you're doing the strength training or the cardio training, your body is continuously moving. Okay, that means you're keeping your heart percentage anywhere from 50 to 60 to even 70 to 80. Okay, I don't recommend to go 90, because this is 90 is possible only for HIIT. I would just say to keep your heart performing at your best, I would say at least spike your heart rate. I think it's about 240 minus your age, and that's the limit. 220, I'm sorry, 220 minus your age is the level that your heart rate can go up to. I mean, people would find it difficult to go to that level, but then I would just say keep your heart rate to 50 to 80%. That's an optimum level of your heart that you can work for every day, so that your heart is on the healthier side. So that's pretty much on the workout side. The duration, like we have discussed, it's always about 30 minutes to 90 minutes. 90 minutes is from the advanced side, but don't go more than 90 minutes, because the cortisol is kicking in, and then you don't need that kind of thing which arrests a fat burn. Okay, you need always the fat to be burning, and then you don't want to be in a stress mode, and eventually your performance is going to go down after that. So I don't want you to be in that point. I don't want to be in that situation. All right. So that's pretty much on the phase two. So you have the warm up, and then you have the workout, and then you have the cool off, right? So, oh yeah, it's see 220 your minus your age. That is something, yeah. And then the cool off over there, what you obviously need to do is just sit and probably focus on your breathing. Again, if you want to look for stretching, of course you can do that. Stretching is definitely a good one after your thing. But then there's a lot of contradicting studies, or professing about people professing about things like stretching should be in the beginning, stretching should be in the last, and things like that. But then it just kind of like, it just, you need to see what works the best for you, and then you need to go on. Okay. I mean, for me, stretching in the beginning, stretching in the end doesn't really matter. Just have me warm up and cool down. That's cool for me. All right. So these are the three phases for any exercise. So if anybody is trying to give you an ideal exercise program, make sure that you have all these phases involved in it. Okay. So yeah, the phase one is the warm up, and then the workout phase, and then the cool off phase. Okay, so these three things are like absolute necessary, but most people will fall into only the phase two. They just go start the workout and come back. Or some people are like phase one and two, but then they don't see the phase three. They always overlook at phase three, and then they don't have time for that. And some people even have the phase three as abs. It's pretty funny, but then they finish the workout, and then they do about 10 minutes and 20 minutes of abs, and then you go home, which is not the right thing. Again, the abdominal exercise should also always be included in phase two, and it's not in phase three. Okay, that is something that we need to incorporate on your regular exercise schedule, right? So these are the basic tips that I can give you for the tips for the longevity, like always keeping your body fat less than 15% or 25%, depending on the man or woman, whoever you are. Keeping the muscle mass increased, muscle endurance and muscle strength increased, because you're constantly working on the muscles. So remember, more muscle you have, more fat you burn. So the reduced blood sugar is obviously the it's like it's a benefit that you get out of this. Okay. So this also has to not just be about carrying on with your lifestyle with reminding aspects. You should also have the balanced nutrition, like we have discussed. You need to look for clean food, whole food, and not just depend on the fast foods or the sugars or anything of that sort. Just stay away from that, and then you would be able to get your blood sugar levels down significantly in months. Okay. And then you have the visceral fat, is nothing but the internal fats that you have in the organs, that has been conserved in the organs. And you don't eat, this is the most dangerous fat, because once it is formed, it just clogs out. It's give your whole body a very um, difficult in even running the blood. You know what I mean? So it's kind of like visceral fat is like the most dangerous fat. I will be covering this in detail in another episode probably. Okay. And then we have balanced nutrition, is something that which is within your control. So a regular exercise, balanced nutrition, which will pretty much give you a very healthy lifestyle with other benefits. Okay. Regular exercise, by that I mean, like, you need to have the mixed method. So what are the types of mixed methods that you can have? I would be covering it on a different episode. So right now that's not possible. So I would just say have a mixed method of strength training and a little bit of cardio, or probably even more of cardio, depending on the time that you want to cut down or bulk up or anything. But like, as a whole, if you just keep within strength, cardio, clean food, that is equal to clean lifestyle. That means you are on the better side. All right. So these are the basic tips that I can give you for longevity. But having said that, does it start and stop with this? Absolutely not. There's a lot more to do, and I will see. So if you find this interesting, follow this, and if you want anything for me to do, I can research and I can come up with that. Just ask me any of your questions, anything that you have. Just post it in, and I will come up with I'll come up with things that works best for us. Okay, because I want this community to stay healthy, stay fit, and if I can change even one life, there's nothing like it. Okay, I would consider that as my blessing. So I would just say, if you find this video useful, I want you to like it, I want you to share it, and make sure you kill it. Okay. uh, yeah, that's pretty much it. So I will see you on the next video.